Hey, what's up guys? I'm from More Real Estate and welcome back to another very exciting tutorial. Well, it's actually not a tutorial, but it's amazing, right? Anyway, today what we're gonna be talking about is a new amazing tutorial from Videocopilot, Andrew Kramer, which is called Crossfire. Wait, Crossfire? It's actually one of my favorite FPS games, and it gives me a lot of fun in my teenager year.
向前弄，发出致命一击，信自己，力量能开天辟地，往前冲，谁能与我对敌？火光中，生死一秒间决，无所畏惧，就一起 crossfire， 撼动宇宙的气概 ，Let's fight， 自己的命运由自己来主宰，让脆弱悲哀全部都就地掩埋。
Anyway, well, it's really a exciting and amazing tutorial, but I still have something to say about this. But don't be afraid, just some personal ideas about this tutorial to make a little more details into this tutorial. I mean, it's already perfect, but I just have some personal ideas, so don't blame me, please. I really do appreciate to have the opportunity to say this, to see this tutorial, but I still have some personal ideas. Alright, so let me see it. And the first thing we're gonna talk about is the light. And in Andrew Kramer's tutorial, we can see there's two lights in the scene, and here's one and here's the other one. But both of those two lights are the white color in our scene. But actually, I want some effect that I can keep the color at the same in different scenes, like there and in our cracks. Let me see, it's there in these cracks and also in our specular area, right? We need to light them up in the same color in the same scene. So the first thing I did is go to our project. Alright, so here, and here's our bevel settings, and here's two lights, and in the downside I have a white colors of the light. We can hit AA and open the light options in the After Effects, and we can see there's a white light and 136 intensity of this light, and it's pretty normal. But in this light we can see that it creates the highlights in our bevels, and the highlights and the color of highlights, we want it to be the same color inside our scene in the outside comp. So I create a color link to our main comp, and the same idea to the Andrew Kramer's tutorial. We just made a simple link to our crossfire composition. And by the way, I created a new node to be a controller of the colors and the rotation of the slides in our scene. So it's pretty maybe simpler to control the light and the colors and the rotation in our scene. Alright, this is the first thing I want to say. And about the lights, I have another thing to say, is that before the lightning comings there's actually about 1 to maybe 4 frames. There actually should have a light source go through the bevels. So theoretically, we need to create a new point light to go through this scene to simulate this lightsaber. And here's the same ideas. I create a tint effect and map the white colors to the color controllers, and the no object we created for the colors and rotation control, and we just can simply change the colors of the scene, and we change everything procedurally, including our lights and background. And the second thing is the bevel. Alright, so let's go to the bevel settings. There are actually no bevel settings, but we're gonna talk it. Alright, so in our bevel, we can see we sort of create a edges artifacts in our scene, because if we don't set the properties in perfect ways, I said probably, right? We probably get some wrong edges and some sort of white edges problem in our bevels around this bevel. And the reason why is if we switch the channels from RGB to alpha and we duplicate the font profile composition and turn it on, and we create a mask for it, and we can see actually the alpha in the scene is different from the alpha matte. I don't know if you can understand what I'm talking about, but I just simply duplicate the font file. Of course, this is our alpha matte, and we duplicate it and compared to our glass layer, and we can see there's sort of a different alpha, just a little bit difference in the alpha channel. So when we add the alpha matte to this glass layer, it will create a white edges in front of this bevels. So what we're gonna be doing is to delete this first, and we can create a set channels, and it will set the alpha to our font profile layer. And of course, we can add a simple choker plugins to tweak the edges of the bevels, and then we got a right bevels here. Alright, here's the second thing I want to say. And there's also a pretty simple way. We just add the simple choker plugins to our font profile and switch it on. And you can see we got the same result of our first methods. So all of those two methods are available and useful. So back to our main scene, and we switch to our original comp. And here's our main comp, and as you can see, I actually add a fast box blur in our final bevel settings, and we can probably solo this layer and disable this fast box blur, and you can see what exactly it's doing. Alright, it's creating a fast blur in the surface of our bevels, and it create more natural looking. And as you can see, if we disable this fast box blur, in some situations you probably get some very sharp specular and some artifacts in the bevel settings, and the same thing in the element 3D. So sometimes I use the fast box blur to remove those really sharp edges and the pixels, and we got a really nice natural look in our scene. So that's pretty good for our scene. Just a little bit details. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the footage. And because of the website situations, I kind of hard to get the original footage of this tutorial. So for some reasons, I create my own textures in the slice layer. I can get this sort of organic layers inside of After Effects just by using CC Glass, and the same ideas about this tutorial actually. And as you can see, we're simply using the fractal noise as our map layer and create this sort of disturbed surface in our gray layer by using CC Glass. And we can tint it and add some adjustment to the colors, and we can create sort of this effect. And sometimes we can create our own footage to build our scene. Alright, so here's the other thing I want to say is that I've added a little bit cooling effect, and you can see we just drag the bevel and here's very bright parts, but with the time goes by, and as you can see, the light is getting darker and darker in the bevels, and I've created this sort of cooling effect, and just looks a little bit more natural and normal to our daily life. It just add a little bit more details to our daily life experience, right? And of course, it's very easy to create this sort of effect, and I just add a little bit keyframes, just 2 keyframes to our fractal noise, and there's a property called brightness. I just keyframe this to 0, or actually the -20, and it seems to create sort of a cooling effect, and actually I'm pretty satisfied with this cooling effect. Alright, here's the details part. Beyond the tutorial, I create sort of light rays in the left up corner in our scene. It's sort of creating some underseas or sense of air and space to our scene, and creates more realistic and more cinematic feelings. And as you can see, I add this light rays with our smoke elements in the background, and it creates very pretty nice looking effect. It like our scene looks more 3D, and probably you can create a drop shadows at the same format to our light rays and the same lines and the same directions, just creating a soft edges and the drop shadows to the bevel, and it will be more 3-dimensional. And the way to do it is really simple, and we can just create a new composition, and we call it light rays, and hit OK. Create a new solid but hit Ctrl Y, and we call it noise layer. Okay, and we add a fractal noise, and we have a energy fractal noise preset I created before. It's pretty simple. Just change the fractal type to the dynamic and go to the subsettings, turn the sub rotation to about -164 and add a time expression to the evolution, and we just get this sort of effect. And in this case, I need to change the scale a little bit, and here we have more details in our comp. And of course, we need to pre-compose this layer, and we hit Control-Shift-C to pre-compose this layer, and we call this noise map, and move out attributes into the new composition and hit OK. And now we need to create a mask to our map. And now we can create a new adjustment layer by hitting Control Alt and Y. And now we need to add a simple plugins called Shine. And I do know the original tutorial is 100% After Effects.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at creating this destructive crossfire effect inside of After Effects without any third-party plugins. All right, so now we're going to add a laser blast, and we're going to be using another free plugin from Videocopilot called Saber. So let's go and take a look at what we're going to be creating.
Anyway, so let's add a shine to this. And of course, we can put the source point to our left up corner. Please don't laugh at me. Alright, so let's create this sort of effect. And as a matter of fact, we already have this sort of effect. And we need to change the color rise to one color. And we can choose the color to our scene. So we can add the same ideas to our colors. And we go to the controller layer and lock the effect panels, and we go to the adjustment layer, and the same idea, we out click this to create a link to our main comp. And here it is. We create this sort of effect, light rays effect. And we can go back here and close this and lock this. So now we have the light rays, but this is not looking good. Whatever, anyway, I just create a new composition into our new comp and put it into our crossfire comp and scale it up, and I'm done. It's pretty good, right? We can play back it. And we have this sort of light rays effect. And of course, we don't have to use the shine plugins, because not everybody has this shine effect, right? So we can use a built-in plugins called CC Radio Fast Blur, and it's really useful. We just put the amount to 100% and go to the upside, and then we have this sort of effect, and we can add a tint effect to it. And to the white color, same to the colors in the shine, and we copy this expression and add it to the matte white. And then we have this sort of effect, and go back to our light rays and scale it down and move it to the side. Don't get this erase problem. And then we also can get a pretty nice looking light rays effect. And finally, we can see in the demo reel of this tutorial from Videocopilot Andrew Kramer's, and you can see there's actually some sort of chroma effect. And no, this is my demo, but it's also in the demo of the Andrew Kramer's demo reel, and it's also have the chroma effect in the Andrew Kramer's demo, believe me, or you can see that by yourself. Anyway, it has. And so how to create this sort of effect, and the best and the simplest way is to add a lux to it. It's really a powerful color correction and color adjustment plugins, and we click this button, go to the edit panels, and just add a chromatic effect to this layer. And let's see what's going on if we only adjust the red and sign properties. And adjustment, I add too much to it, but just you can see it, right? And we sort of create this sort of chroma effect. Let's go back to this. Okay, that's pretty good, because this is actually the natural phenomena of our real lens in the daily life. So we can add the chroma effect to increase the cinematic viewing and the the realistic, photorealistic looking of this image. Of course, the noise effect is the same purpose. Or if you don't have the Lux plugins, and we also have the method to do it. First of all, we need to create a adjustment layer, and we create a transform effect to it, and just scale it up a little bit, just a little bit. No, I'm serious, just a little bit. What about 101? And let's see the difference. Just a little bit bigger, right? Just a little bit. And now we can add a set channels effect, and just set the red channel to our original plate. And now, I don't know if you can see it, but I see it. We sort of create a sign and red shift effect in our scene. All right, if you can't see this, and you can see there, it's really a huge difference from the chroma effect and the original plate. And we can scale it up just a little bit, and you can see clearly. Alright, so we can create this sort of chroma effect to create this scene. Just 101, maybe 100.5 is good. Alright, all of those ideas is I personally want to say about this tutorial. And again, I really do appreciate that I can have an opportunity to see this tutorial. It's really great and really amazing. And all of this is just my personal ideas. And I hope that it is useful for you to create more details in your scene. And this is the end of this tutorial, and I'm from More Real Estate. If you like my tutorial, please hit the subscribe button, and I will create more tutorials for you. Alright, have a good one, and we will see you next time.